Hello. We're starting this workshop and I'm going to be making sure all the tech is working. So if you hop in and you're here, pop in the chat. Make sure that the chat is set to all panelists and attendees. Let me know who's here, your name, where you're from. Just say hi. I hope you're doing well. Trying to get my screen just situated and ready to go. So I see a few faces. Let's see. You guys excited to get started on goal planning and goal setting? I hope so. Got Samantha from upstate New York. Hello, Samantha. We've got Karen from Ohio. Diana, Sabrina. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to get started. And Jasmine from Houston. Hello from South Dakota. Wow. All right. So we're going to get started. It usually takes me just a second just to make sure the screen is properly formatted so that I can see what I'm doing. All right. Thanks for bearing with me while everybody pops in. Okay, so let's go ahead and share the screen. Let's get started. How's the sound? Are we good? Can you see the screen where it says planning and goal setting? Diana says, can't hear you unless you're singing. I'm not singing. Sabrina says she can hear me. Give me a comment. Let me know that you can hear me because it worries me that Diana can't. Okay. Samantha's saying she can hear me. Okay, great. All right, so, oh, it moved to screen number 2. Okay. So let's get started. So what we're doing today, we're talking about planning and goal setting. Last month, we specifically dove into content strategies. So what that means is if you go to last month's workshop inside of your membership, and I'll show you how to get there, we walked through how to create a very in-depth content strategy, and we did that step by step. It's a very in-depth content strategy and planning session. This one's strategically going to be all about goal setting and making sure that you have the right goals for your business and your content. So it's going to be a very actionable little workshop that we're doing. Hopefully you come out of it with a very clear plan and feeling very organized and have at least a direction to go. And we're going to talk about how to create all of this using your membership as well as the Easy Marketing Planner, which is inside of your membership. If you haven't seen it yet, I will tell you how to get it. Okay, so the number one enemy of not accomplishing your dream is a broken focus. Let me know if that resonates with you, because if you've ever not accomplished something that you wrote down as a goal, it's usually because you lost your focus, whether it be because of your own personal issue with focus or other things became a priority. But the number one enemy of not accomplishing things is that loss of focus. And it's such a good feeling when you do have a plan, which is why we're here today. We're creating a plan. So what we're going to talk about today to ensure you reach the end of the week, month, and quarter is how to create a plan and how to have a plan for your goal and how to feel accomplished. So what we're talking about today is getting clear on your goals, how to plan content using the Easy Marketing Planner and the Ivory Mix membership, a simple trick I'm going to share with you to be more productive this month. It's a super simple trick, and I guarantee you, you're going to at least use this trick once a week, if not every day. And I'm going to give you the 2 steps that you need to get anything done and more done. Okay, sound exciting? Are you guys ready? So what I want you to commit to doing is planning on doing this training. I'm going to make it a replay in your membership. Try to do this every month if you can. If not, every week. If you're new to owning a business, or if you're new to growing something, this might be something you need to refocus on every week until you have the habits and you're trained to do this. As you get better and better at doing these things, you can repeat these steps every quarter and every month instead of every week. But for now, just plan to do this regularly. After this workshop, make a note in your notebook that you're going to commit to doing this at least, and then you come up with what that is, once a week or once a month or once a quarter, okay? Because you literally can do this every 90 days or every month or every week, especially if this is your new business. Just know that this is essential for planning and growing. So when you get ready to plan your month or plan your quarter or even plan your year, let's say this is the end of the year and you're planning the next year ahead, you want to do these things. You want to break away from your routine so that you give yourself space and time to evaluate and think about your plan. So you're here right now. This is great because hopefully you've turned off notifications, you've closed the door to whatever room you're in, you've told people you're unavailable, you've turned off notifications on your phone. You're breaking away from your normal routine so that you give your brain an opportunity to really think clearly. This is time to reflect on your previous week, your previous 30 or 90 days, however often you choose to do this. And think about what amazing things you have achieved up to this point. If you have a notebook in front of you, jot something down. What's something amazing that you've done? Did you start your website? Did you launch your Instagram? Did you make a sale? Did you get a lead? What amazing thing did you do? Because that's really going to be motivating for you as we move forward. And what went well? What went really well in your business over the last 30 or 90 days? And what do you want to celebrate? Because if you're making the time to sit right here and do your goal planning, I want you to give yourself space and time to celebrate those things that you've won, the things that you've achieved. So whatever those things are, don't neglect the celebration part of it. It's so important to feel good about anything that you've achieved up to this point and not discount it. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't continue to look forward without looking back and giving yourself a nice pat on the back. Okay. So let's prepare for your planning. What do you want to achieve, or did you want to achieve, that you didn't? If you've got a notebook in front of you, start jotting it down. What did you want to achieve in the last 30 days? Now, if you choose to do this weekly, you could say, what did I want to do last week that I didn't? Be honest. Be very self-aware. It's very powerful and enlightening to kind of be honest with yourself. What is it that you wanted to achieve but didn't? And then ask yourself these crucial questions. It's painful, I know, but how did you limit yourself, and how can you stop from doing that? We are our own worst enemies. If you'll think back to the quote that I shared earlier, not achieving something is usually a sign that you lacked focus or lost focus on that particular goal. So what thing are you putting in your own way? What challenges did you face? Of course, these days we've got a lot of unique challenges that none of us could have anticipated. But what that does is it helps educate us on what kinds of things we need to start thinking about for the future, start planning on in the future. So taking the time to write out what challenges you faced and what have been your biggest frustrations will help you identify some of the very important goals and plans that you need to make going forward. These could be challenges you faced personally. They could be challenges that you faced with content that you've created. Perhaps you launched a product that didn't make as many sales. What type of thing did you not exactly achieve that presented some unique challenges that you aren't quite sure how to get past right now? It's okay to not know the answers to all of these things, but being aware of them is going to help you move forward. Okay, so are you guys making notes? I hope you are. I hope you're getting all the the thoughts going on things that you might want to improve on the month ahead. And then lastly, how much revenue, if you are in a place where you are making money for your business and making money, how much revenue did you bring in the past week, the past month, or the past 90 days? And how do you feel about that particular figure? That's okay, Karen. I see you're just joining. No worries. We just got started. There will always be a replay, so you can watch the first 10 minutes as well. So how much revenue did you bring in and how did you feel about that figure? Okay, so setting your exciting goals. This is where we're going to get started in setting our goals for the next week, the next month, and the next 90 days. So let's take some deep breaths and get ready to visualize. Visualizing what the future looks like will help you understand what steps you need to take in order to get to that ultimate exciting goal. Okay, so take some deep breaths and start to visualize where you want to be by the end of the year. I know it's kind of scary. I know. Some of us have big, wild dreams, and some of us have smaller dreams. It doesn't matter. What is important to you is all that matters. So if you can visualize what that is at the end of the year, I want that to be at the top of your head. I want that to be your main focus, because then I want you to visualize what needs to happen this month and this week to get you closer to that goal. So what is the biggest, most important thing you need to do right now or this month? That's of course achievable. Let's pick something that's somewhat achievable. But what is it that you can visualize happening this month that will get you even closer to that end of year goal? Okay. So take some time. You don't have to do that right now, but brain dump everything you can possibly think of to do this month, to do next month. Brainstorm all the potential goals that you could achieve for the next quarter. Get it all out. What would feel amazing to achieve? I have particular goals. I do this every month, and I actually review my goals every week because it's motivating. So the more often you do this, the more you can come back to your list and start seeing what things you're actually taking action on, because brain dumping, you can't possibly get all the things done. Our brains move a lot faster than we do physically. So it's much easier to get all of the ideas out on paper, and then you come back to that list and you see what your pattern of action is. What are the things that you keep taking action on? And then you get to realign yourself every week and every month with your goals, making sure that you are keeping your vision at the front of your mind, right? So what you're going to do once you've brain dumped all of your goals, okay? Did you write down on your note paper, brain dump everything that I could possibly do? What you're going to do is turn those brain dump tasks into smaller goals. Okay? So if you could spend 60 seconds right now, write down some of those brain dump tasks. Okay? And what I want you to do is decide what goals you'll commit to doing and working on this week. Even if it's just one goal. Because sometimes we can bite off more than we can actually chew. So if it's easier to just envision what one goal can you commit to working on this week, do that. What can you commit to doing this month? Remember, you have a vision for the end of the year. You have a vision of what you will be grateful for achieving at the end of the year. So, what is it that you're committing to working on this month and this week to get to that vision? Make commitments to yourself and write it down. What goals will you commit to this quarter? We're in the middle of the quarter at this point, nearly at the middle, in the middle of quarter two. But what are some quarterly goals that you've made for yourself? Maybe you haven't made any. I often like to make at least one big goal for the quarter in my business and then 3 smaller goals. So, what can you commit to? And more importantly, what can you commit to stop doing? Or what will you not do anymore? So, I lately, because of the state of the world, I've been staying up a lot later. That's not normal, but it impacts my ability to wake up early, which is something that I truly, truly enjoy doing. So if I were going to write down a goal right now and something that I would commit to, it would be committing to waking up every day at a specific time and going to bed by a specific time. You can see that that is a goal related to an overarching plan that I have. But what are some of those things that come to mind for you? What could you possibly stop doing that might support your goals? Okay, so now is the time to create an action plan for your month. If you've brainstormed some ideas, if you've thought about your vision for the year, and if you've come up with some things that you want to commit to, it's time to get really clear on what your action plan is for the month. So if you've committed to a couple of goals, let me know in the comments. Did you commit to one at least? Because at this point, it's time to get really clear about your plan for what you need to do and why. It's so important that when we work and use our precious time to work on our business every day, that we know why we're doing it. Because sometimes we can fall into the trap of doing busy work, right? Especially if it's more fun. But if there's something that's challenging for you, but you know that it'll get you a million miles further and closer to your goal, then it's probably worth it to keep reminding yourself, okay, this is why I'm working on this. I know it's challenging. I know it would be easier to do something else right now, but this is why I'm doing it. No need to make decisions about what tasks to tackle first right this second, because we're going to talk about that a little bit later about how to decide what to tackle first. But just get really clear about what your plan is and what you need to do in order to accomplish those goals that you've committed to for this month. Diana says, finish her book. And Karen says, I find this whole goal setting biz challenging. That's why you're here. It's going to feel so much easier by the end of this. Trust me. All right. So I'm glad you guys are making some goals and setting some commitments. It's going to really, really help you as we move through the rest of this process. So what I want to remind you is that if you're overwhelmed, simply look at your action plan and tackle the first thing that makes everything else easier. What you want to do is make it easy for yourself in the long run. I kind of already talked about that, but if you're having if you're having an issue picking goals, if you are like Karen at this point, feeling a little overwhelmed, the best thing that you can do is just focus on one thing at a time and picking the one thing that's going to make the biggest difference. Everything else will start to fall into place once you decide on what that one thing is. And then you get to be proud of yourself that you've accomplished the one goal. And it becomes easier, especially if you practice this regularly. Doing these goal setting days where you dedicate an entire day to planning your business or making goals will become a habit. And especially if you schedule it on your calendar. So tackle the very most important thing first, and everything else will fall into place. So here's how to write your goals. Write the goal in present tense as if it has already happened. So Diana could write her goal exactly like this. It is Q4, December 15th, and I have finished my book. I want you to write it down, and I want you to practice reading that to yourself. Okay, so whatever your goal is, whatever quarter, of course, you're going to want to write it down in present tense. So, for example, it's April 28th or April 30th, and it's the end of the month one in Q2, and I have what? Or maybe we're talking about goals that you want to achieve in May. It's May 30th, and it's the end of the month of May in Q2, and I have launched my online course. So I want you to make sure that you're writing your goals that way, because they become way more powerful, especially if you're reminding yourself of your goals regularly and putting them on a sticky note next to your computer or whatever you need to do. But putting them in present tense is a super powerful, powerful thing. Okay, so I want you to do this right now, if you can. If you can. If not, at least write a note for yourself. Do this right now. Schedule in a monthly review at the end of May to check in on your plan. So you've at least outlined some goals, some initial ideas of things you want to commit to. You've challenged yourself to write it down in present tense. Now is the time to schedule that monthly review and keep yourself accountable. So if you plan on doing these weekly, schedule it every week on this at the same time, same day, every week, if you can. If you plan on doing this monthly, do it monthly. And I highly, highly recommend doing it every quarter, no matter what. Okay. All right. So how do you know if you have the right goals? So if you've done all that work that we just did and wrote out a bunch of smaller goals and wrote out a bunch of things that you want to commit to, how do you know if they're right? How do you know if they're going to move the needle in your business? What I want you to do is ask yourself the following questions when clarifying your goals for the next week, next month, and next quarter. Number one, is this goal moving me closer or further away from my yearly goals? So that vision that you have. If you wrote down 5 things right now, I want you to look at each one of those and say, is this moving me closer? If it's not, I really want you to second guess whether that needs to be a goal. Okay. If you wrote down post on my Instagram every single day, that's a worthy goal, but what's it going to result in? You need to finish the goal. Post on my Instagram every single day in order to generate 5 leads to my email list. That's a goal you can track and measure, right? So ask yourself, is the goal actually moving me closer or further away? Is this something? Second question. Is this something more important that needs, is there something more important that needs doing? Is it just a nice fun project that I want to complete? Maybe because I'm avoiding doing something I know would take me closer to my bigger goals? That's a tough, tough question. So if you wrote, create social media templates for my business. Okay, that's a nice goal. I enjoy that because creating templates for your business makes things a lot easier. It might be fun to do, but is there possibly something more important that you could be doing that actually moves you closer to that goal and that vision that you have for the end of the year, right? Who's with me? So it's very, very helpful to be honest. Every time you make goals, you're going to ask those 2 questions. Is this goal moving me closer? And is there something else that's more important that I should be working on? And number 3, is this the best use of my time right now? Okay. So if Karen or Diana, excuse me, yes, Diana, if she wanted to finish her book, but she spent an entire week working on her Instagram plan, she might want to ask herself, is that the best use of her time? I'm not making any accusations whatsoever. I'm just saying that these are the questions that you've got to ask yourself every time you start doing something, because our time truly is precious. So if you have a vision for the end of the year and you have something that you want to move towards, why not use your time wisely and work on the things that actually move the needle towards your goals? Okay, so are you guys still with me? Diana's saying, get out of my brain. I'm sorry if that was too close to home. Q3 is the most difficult, especially when you are the one who wears all the hats. Sabrina, that's question number 3. Is that question number 3 or Q3? Not sure. Oh, number 3 on the previous screen. Sorry. Sabrina's saying, number 3, is this the best use of my time right now? Yes. Okay. Especially when you wear your own hats. So I'm going to take a pause for a second and answer this question. So it is very challenging when you wear all the hats in your business. Of course, you do have to answer customer service emails. Of course, you need to schedule your content, do the administrative stuff. But if it is your goal to eventually outsource those things, then you're going to want to really lean heavily on your money making tasks, the things that are making you the most money, because that is going to bring you closer to outsourcing, right? Or hiring an admin. So you have to start prioritizing things against goals that you have in the future. So if your vision at the end of the year is to have a VA, then I would start focusing on the things that are going to make you money, and on the learning things, whether you need to learn how to do them, maximize your time, or maybe learn how to outsource very inexpensively. Some things to consider. But I know that it's challenging, but there are strategies, and I'm going to continue to help you here in this to answer that question even better. So let's talk about how to establish the right plans. So when we're talking about creating a plan for the quarter or creating a plan for the month, I want you to choose less than 5 outcomes. So when I say outcomes, a goal is an outcome. So remember, I gave that example of Instagram. One of my goals might be to post daily on Instagram. Well, that's not enough of an outcome. Yes, there is a post going on Instagram, but what's the outcome I actually want? What the outcome was getting 5 leads on my email list every day, right? Or maybe it's every week. So you want to choose less than 5 outcomes or goals for the month. And you can even break that down per week. So if you have more than 3 goals for the week or more than 3 goals for the month, you're going to find that your time is challenged and it's a little harder to achieve all 5. So 3 is actually better. So if I were going to give you advice, if you have 5 things or more written on your goals, try to pare it down to your top 3. Okay. And then be sure that these are outcome driven and that they achieve a desirable result in some way. So again, that Instagram example, the result was 5 leads, because leads get me closer to making sales. Whereas posting every day is, anybody could post every day, but we want to get that result, right? So make sure that you have a result. And then set simple performance goals for each outcome. So example, if I have an outcome that I want of getting 5 leads, what's the performance goal that I need? So this is getting a little deeper into how to really set goals. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I want you to challenge for every goal that you have listed on your list. What's a thing that you could do to make sure that you reach that goal? So you may have already written it down. You may have already been a little specific, but just make sure that each goal has an outcome and something that you could actually do to make sure that you are getting closer to that outcome. Okay. All right. And then consider any process goals that support your outcome. So who's going to do what and when? So if you do have a team, this would be when you would start delegating to a team. But if it is all on you, you don't have to worry about that. At least for now. This is going to help you establish some of those future goals if you do plan on getting a virtual assistant or growing your team. So we've talked a lot about goals at this point, and I'm sure that you've got some goals around social media, some goals around revenue, product creation, and creating systems in your business. And what I want to help you do at this point is I want to help you learn how to use resources that you have in Ivory Mix to help you achieve some of those goals. So we're going to start looking a little bit at the Easy Marketing Planner to help you organize your goals as well as organize your content plan. Okay, so if you don't already have the Easy Marketing Planner, which you should, it's free if you're a VIP member. And if you aren't a VIP member right now, you can get it at ivorymix.com/easy. But the Easy Marketing Planner, and you can set some of this stuff up on your own if you have Trello. But the Easy Marketing Planner has a section in there specifically for yearly planning and monthly planning. So it looks kind of like this screen. You've got an area where you can plan out your goals for the quarter and an area where you can plan out your vision for the year, like we've talked about. And then you've got an area where you can plan out your month as well as do a monthly review. So when you schedule that monthly review, you can actually put a due date right here. I don't know if there's a pointer on the screen or not. I will try to do a pointer. So right there. Okay. You can add a due date to this and then every month do that same monthly review. Okay. So I shouldn't annotate because I'm gonna mess myself up. Okay, so once you have your goals, it's time to actually plan your content. So I've shown you in the Easy Marketing Planner the section where you can plan out your goals and keep yourself on track. But then there's an entire section inside of the Easy Marketing Planner for you to actually plan your content. Now, we're not going to dive in this particular training deep into content strategy and content planning, but when you have time, go to your workshops in your membership, or if you want to type in the link or screenshot this right now, it's ivorymix.com/product/content strategy. There's an entire recording on how to create a content strategy. It's very in-depth, and I think you'll enjoy it. But if you're going to use the Easy Marketing Planner, this is a lot to look at. So I'm going to try to use the pointer. I don't know. I don't know how to use it. We're going to try though. I don't know. I'm going to try the annotate. Let's do that. Can you guys see my mouse? Let me know. Okay, you can see my mouse. Okay, well, here's the thing. Inside the Easy Marketing Planner, there's a full tutorial on how to use the planner, but I walk you through how to use the planner to plan your blog posts, plan your social media posts, batch your content, and so on and so forth. But on the left side of the screen is a content planning checklist. You can use this checklist every time you sit down to batch create your content, whether you do that once a week, once a month, do it 2 months ahead, whatever. You can use this checklist to help you. And so the first step is decide on your long form content. So that would be like blog posts or YouTube videos or however you choose to create longer form content. Think like podcasts, okay? So you would decide on what those topics are first. Then next, you would want to note or make note of any important dates, anything that's important to your audience or in your business. So that's anything from holidays or things you might want to celebrate or maybe a launch of some kind. So make a note of any important dates that you absolutely need to create content around. And then the third step is brainstorm all your social media posts, from creating a list of different ideas or maybe going and grabbing captions out of your membership. But I'm not going to dive into that because, like I said, there's an entire video on content strategy. But inside of the Easy Marketing Planner, you've got all the prompts and ideas for you. And I'm going to show you that in a second. So stick with me. So the third step is brainstorm social media posts. Then the fourth step, when you are batching out your content, is to sit down and actually do the writing or do the recording. So when I create content, I sit down and I batch as many things when I'm in that flow as possible. So if I'm going to batch out Instagram content, I'm not going to do one post or two posts at a time. I'm going to do 10 to 30. When I sit down to record a video, I'm going to do up to 3. If I've got enough time, I might do 6. You know what I mean? So batch out your content by sitting down and doing all of your writing or your recording at one time. Then once you've got your ideas, your topics, and your important dates, it's time to sit down and batch out your visual content. Now, if you're new to this, you're going to want to do these things probably 1 week at a time, because it takes some practice to get really good at it. But especially if you are just establishing your brand or establishing what topics work in your business. So you're going to want to be a little more flexible in the beginning. So don't commit to planning something 30 days in advance when you don't even know what exactly works in your business. Just do everything 1 week at a time until you actually see results and you go, you know what, that type of blog post really works for me. It works for my audience. I got great feedback. I'm going to continue to write those types of blog posts. Then you can actually sit down and batch create. Okay. Then sit down, do all your visual content, create all your videos, and then upload and publish. So you've got that checklist inside of your Easy Marketing Planner. And then there's also that video tutorial. And this next slide is a screen capture of what's inside of the Easy Marketing Planner for you to utilize when it comes to getting content ideas. So you've got 12 months of content ideas. So these are like prompts and things that you could use to inspire social media posts, Instagram stories, any kind of content you could possibly think of. 12 months of ideas over there. There's blog posts ideas, story starters, and then a bunch of captions that convert inside of there as well. So this Easy Marketing Planner, this section is specifically made for you to use as a resource. So when you're trying to come up with ideas of things or trying to think of things that might work for you on social media, you're going to come to this area for those ideas. And there you'll find that that's extremely helpful and gets like the ideas really flowing for you. And they're just simple, easy things that you can implement. Okay. The next section inside of your Easy Marketing Planner that you can use is the monthly content planner area, the weekly, and the daily. So this section of the planner is for when you start to plan what blog posts you're going to post, what social media, what captions you're going to use, what prompts or story ideas you might have. Again, there's a full video tutorial to walk you through how to use this, but I want you to know that it's there for you to help you plan your content. But in addition to that, if you don't use Trello, there is a PDF version of all of these things, as well as a Google Doc. So if you're like a spreadsheet person, kind of like me, you can use spreadsheets that I've created under this Google Doc section, or you can download the PDFs. So what you're looking at right here is what I call the weekly content planner. So you can see on the left-hand side, you've got the different content types: blog posts, social stories, live streams, email, Pinterest, and then Monday through Sunday at the top. So if you just simply print this out or open the sheet, you can just start typing in or writing in your ideas for each area of your business. So you might not post a blog post every day of the week, but you can write on here what the general idea is, and then put that on, let's say you wanted to publish that on Tuesday, then what related stories or social media posts might you need to post? So it's a great sheet to help you brainstorm various different ideas, and also just, have it on your desk as a reminder that week of what things that you need to work on. And you can plan these things for the month. So you could print out 4 copies for the month, or, like duplicate the sheet in Google Sheets if you want to plan out a month. So definitely utilize this section of the Easy Marketing Planner for that. And then the next thing you can do, if once you sit down to batch create your content, is use platforms to automate, schedule, and publish. So of course, Tailwind for Pinterest and Instagram, Planoly for Instagram and Facebook, or maybe Buffer, Hootsuite for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you can skip some of the Easy Marketing Planner steps if you use some of these tools. What I find the Easy Marketing Planner or the Google Sheets and the PDF useful for is for brainstorming ideas and planning out ahead of time. The publishing to these tools is when you're actually ready to sit down and schedule. So I like to plan things off of the platforms first so I can move them and be a little more fluid and share things with my team, and then maybe let them go ahead and schedule it, or do that first instead of posting it directly onto like Planoly, for instance. But you have to work through the workflow of what's best in your business, but definitely try these tools for automating, scheduling, and publishing. And then of course, use your membership. So when you're sitting down to plan out your content, I like to start with the captions that convert, especially if I know I'm going to publish blog posts, or I have a new product I'm going to launch, or maybe a sale that's going on. Because inside of the captions that convert, you've got writing templates that specifically convert people, followers, into customers, or they have specifically written call to actions to help you get people from social media onto your website. So I usually start there, and then I think about what visuals I might need to create. So start with your captions that convert, and then go to your Canva templates and your stock photos. Now, once you've developed your plan for the month for social media and your longer form content, batching and creating your images and using your Canva templates becomes a lot easier. And I'm going to give you one tip. If this process is a little more difficult for you, pick a few templates to use and reuse. So there's no reason to continually create or recreate content. If you have visual templates that work, just simply switching out photos and text and using the same templates over and over again helps create brand recognition. It actually simplifies and makes your process go a lot faster. So that's what you should be using the Ivory Mix templates for, is creating those systems in your business. And of course, we have templates inside there for Pinterest, Instagram, but I don't know if you've stumbled across them yet or not, but there's lead magnet templates for creating lead magnets to grow your email list, as well as presentation templates if you're gonna, host any workshops or webinars. And then, of course, mock-ups and things to display the things that you've created. Okay, so, and then coming soon, this is kind of like coming soon, very, very soon, blog post templates, more than just ideas, and email templates. So we're going to be adding those things into the membership, so keep your eyes out for that. And then to help you speed up the process in creating content, we use this for Ivory Mix. You'll want to research inspiration. So I love quotes on Instagram. They're highly engaging, as well as, humorous, which is part of my brand in general. So if you're searching for quotes or inspiration, use Pinterest, definitely. And if you plan on reposting other people's content, always give credit. So follow people who your audience follows. Go to Pinterest and follow the topics that your audience follows, and make this process easier for you by consuming content and making research and finding inspiration part of your process. What we do is we create a secret board on Pinterest, and we save that for the team, and we have a discussion about that once a month to kind of discuss what are some things that might work for our content. So places you can find inspiration are like Pinterest, Instagram, specific hashtags that your followers use, or that they engage with. You could always use Google, just typing in something that they might search for in Google to give you inspiration, Facebook groups, and so on. And last but not least, subscribe and follow similar accounts. So I know that it can be challenging when we're starting a business to follow others who are doing similar things. But if you can stomach it, I highly recommend following other people who are in your niche or who have a similar audience. Maybe they don't necessarily need to compete with you. Okay, maybe it's not, you don't need to follow someone who necessarily competes with you, but definitely follow people who have a similar audience. So what are some of those brands that might have a similar audience? For me, like Tailwind, I don't have a business that has a scheduling tool for Pinterest, but my members use Pinterest, and I create templates for Pinterest. So we have similar audiences. So I'm going to follow Tailwind because they create content around topics that my audience is also interested in. So it's great to follow them so that I have additional resources for creating content, or maybe giving myself a place to gather ideas and inspiration. And just pay attention to the conversations that my audience is having with them, So that's something that you should definitely consider doing. No need to follow competitive brands, but definitely similar. Okay, so write down where you are today so you can review again in 30 days. We've already talked about that. I've already asked you to schedule that on your calendar to make sure you do a 30-day review. But inside of the Easy Marketing Planner, I've given you a place to track your audience and to track your actual metrics and the numbers. So how many followers you got on Instagram, how many subscribers, and then every month when you do that 30-day review, you can go into your Easy Marketing Planner and track that. And then the next month, make a copy and then track the new numbers. That way you have a history of the results, what content's working, what content's not working, how many subscribers you had last month versus this month. Are you making traction towards your goals? So it's very important to do those monthly reviews on your number of followers, number of email subscribers, website visits, page views, and sales or conversions. Another thing inside of your Easy Marketing Planner, if you don't use Trello and you don't plan on using Trello, or if you're just a paper person like I am, I like to print things out. There is a printable version of this or a spreadsheet version of this inside. So again, under the planning sheet section of the Easy Marketing Planner or the Google Docs section, you can print this and just keep track. You can put it in a binder if you want to, and just review it once a month. Okay, so how are we doing on time? Let's just make sure. All right, we're doing okay. Got a few more minutes. Now that you've got your goals, okay, now that you've got some of your goals, you understand a little bit about the content you're going to sit down and create. Your next step is to do your creative work first. Okay, so if you're like a lot of our members, you have clients, or maybe you're a freelancer, or you have one-on-one clients, those clients can actually prevent you from making progress in your business. So if you have goals for your business and you're finding it really hard to get extra time to work on your goals and work on your business, I want you to remember this. Work on your creative and your goals first before anyone else's. You should spend the first hour of your day every day working on your creative work instead of checking email, instead of doing client work, or instead of hopping on social media. Those things will be there and you can focus on them whenever you want. But if you've set up your day right and you focus on your work first and your goals first, at least for 1 hour of every day, you're going to find that every single day you're getting much closer to your goals, and you're still getting to those emails and you're still getting to social media. Okay. So make sure that you do your work first. Jasmine saying, yes, this is where I am. It's so many people, and I'm here to help. So I hope this is helping you. So work on projects that move the needle. This is a method for magic and how you work. So this is how you're going to actually work on those projects that move the needle in your business. So if you're like Jasmine and you have clients, but you have big goals for your business, those goals are considered the things that are really important to you. You need to be working on them because they're going to move the needle in your business. They're going to get you away from doing one-on-one work and doing one-to-many. The only way you're going to do that is by prioritizing that over clients. That doesn't mean that clients aren't important. And because you care so much, you're going to do the client work. I know it. But it's so easy to make your stuff not important, especially if you are giving yourself the end of day to do that. So flip it, do your stuff first, and then the client work second. So my question is, do you ever feel overwhelmed by your to-do list? Do you ever stare at your to-do list with no idea where to start? Do you find yourself focused on a single task that you later discovered didn't actually make any important impact to your actual goal? What's important is seldom urgent, and what's urgent is seldom important. So what does that mean to you? What's important is seldom urgent, and what's seldom urgent, or what's urgent is seldom important. Let me butcher that again. This is by Dwight D. Eisenhower. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I'm sharing with you this easy method to help you prioritize your to-do lists, okay? The easy method is this, and you've probably, maybe you've heard of this before, but I want you to remember this now, and I want you to write this down now. It's called the Eisenhower method, or sometimes referred to as the Eisenhower matrix. And what that is, it's a 4-quadrant matrix for using 2 criteria. Answering a question every time you have a task. Is it critical? Yes or no? Is it urgent? Yes or no? So here's the difference. the difference between what's critical and what's urgent. So you might think that client work is both critical and urgent, but I really want you to consider where it falls on your category. So critical, when a task is critical, and I'm going to show you this visually. So if you're like lost, don't worry. I'm going to show you this visually. But critical, how important is the task? So every time you have a task on your to-do list, ask yourself, how important is it? Do I do it now or do I do it later? You ask, does it need my immediate attention? Will this task still be relevant a week from now? Will it be relevant a month from now? So here's the matrix. Okay, you can draw on a piece of paper. You can screenshot this as a reminder, take a picture with your phone, whatever you got to do. The matrix is 2 columns at the top, 2 rows on the side. Do now, do later, critical and not critical. So that top square on the left-hand side, if you have a list of tasks, you're going to ask yourself, is this something critical and should I do it now? Or is it maybe critical and I can do later, like client work? Okay, making sense? Then there are those other things that are not critical and that maybe you need to do now. So time sensitive things, perhaps things that you can delegate. Let's say you made a goal to write a blog post every week. Do you actually have to write that blog post or can someone else do that? Is it critical that you absolutely do that yourself or is it something you can actually delegate? These are things that are going to help you make decisions in your business. So I hope you took a screenshot of this. Inside of your Easy Marketing Planner, you can organize your to-do list underneath the daily section. You can see here today's tasks and tomorrow's tasks. I don't want you to focus on anything else. You've got the other areas in your Easy Marketing Planner to organize your month and your week, but on the daily, you're going to put today's tasks and tomorrow's tasks. You can organize based on, is it critical or is it not, right? So when things are critical and you must do them now, this is if you have too many tasks in this category, you may be in trouble, okay? If you think every single thing on your to-do list is critical and you must do them now, I'm gonna give you a few tricks to kind of help you think through this. The tasks must be dealt with before moving forward. That's your criteria. So if you're gonna put stuff in the 4 quadrants, okay, let's go back really quick. Oh, there it is. If it's critical and due now, these tasks must be dealt with before moving forward on anything else. So think carefully before you really decide on doing something. And dealing with this task can feel like fighting fires. That's how you know that it's critical and you must do it now. So that's when you're up against a deadline, right? That's when you're up against something failing in your business if you don't do it. Okay, those are critical do now. So everything on your to-do list doesn't go here. If it's gonna go here, it must feel like fighting fires. Okay, I hope that makes a little more, give you a little more clarity to it. So for example, customer service or deadlines, last minute projects or client work, or work that needs to be redone. So let's say you have client work and you need to redo it and it's time sensitive. So these tasks are not critical and due later, okay? So in that 4 quadrants, critical but due later, these tasks are not as pressing, not as important, but they are critical to your project's success and achieving your goals, okay? Consider these planned tasks, things that you've planned ahead of time, and or milestones that make up part of your original plan or your project. For example, gathering information for your content and doing your research, or recording videos or writing, completing graphics for your business. Those are going to be things that are planned in the future. They're not critical do now. They're things you can plan and schedule that you can use on your easy marketing planner. Not critical do now. These are things that, however, are not critical. They must be done. And you have to ask yourself whether you are the one that has to do them. Maybe try outsourcing them. So if they're not very critical, but you need to do them now, like publish a blog post or schedule your content in order to reach your goals, ask yourself whether you can delegate them. Okay? Ask yourself if it's absolutely critical that you do the work. Now, if you're not in a place where you can outsource right now, this can be a future goal, but these are things that you can easily put in an outsource category. One of the things I've started outsourcing in my business is updating plugins on my website. It's scary. I don't know if you've ever had a plugin on your website break and then like break things, but it's much nicer and much easier if I don't do it. So I've started outsourcing it. Editing videos. Is it absolutely critical that you do that? Maybe it needs to get done in order to meet your goal, but do you have to do it? So this is, I hope you're starting to see the pattern of decision making when it comes to goals. So I won't spend too much more time on that, but common ways to decide if something is important, you're going to ask yourself, what is the payback? So when you look at your goals, like Diana, she made a goal of finishing her book. Now, there might be a lot of subtasks, a lot of other tasks that you could do in your business in order to get to that goal of publishing and finishing your book. But how do you decide which of those tasks are more important? Or maybe you've got other goals that compete against publishing your book. How do you decide whether those goals are more important than actually publishing your book? Well, the way you do that is you ask these questions. What is the payback? Can I expect sales from the project? Maybe what's the cost if I do or don't do this project? How important is the project towards my goals? Does the project bring me as a business owner a competitive advantage, right? Does this project reduce my costs? So if I go and redesign my website and make it easier for people to check out and buy something, does that reduce my costs or make me more money, right? Does the project increase customer satisfaction? Does the project increase customer retention? So if I had a problem with members canceling constantly, what are the goals that I could put on my list that would help me retain customers? Should I prioritize that over launching a YouTube channel? Maybe, right? So you got to go through some of these questions to start asking yourself whether something is important or not. Are there any legal requirements? Is there a promised deadline? Did I promise somebody I would get something done? Are there other important projects dependent on this? So you can see there are lots of questions that you can ask yourself. I'm going to give you a second to screenshot this if you need to. Okay, hopefully that was long enough. Okay. So here's the thing. That matrix, you can create more than one matrix per project. So for Diana, when she was working on her book, she might also have an Instagram project. You can create that matrix, the Eisenhower matrix, for every project. So all you need is a simple piece of paper, do 4 squares, and write at the top book. And then on the other one, 4 squares, and right at the top, Instagram. What are the things that are critical that I do now? What's critical but I can do later? What's something I can outsource, and what's something I can get rid of completely? So create one matrix list of tasks for each project, sort all of your tasks into their individual lists, and prioritize them within each project. So I hope that was helpful. The benefits are going to be focusing on your needle moving projects and tasks across all projects. So you're going to have a way to prioritize things now based on those lists of questions and the matrix to kind of help you understand what's more important than the other. So is it important that you post a video every time you publish a blog post? I don't know. You have to start asking yourself those questions about your business, whether it's going to impact the bottom line and help you reach a bigger goal. So make calculated decisions about what to do and what not to do. I'm going to get to, let's see, I got a comment over here. Miranda says, I spent hours this weekend playing around with creating a new podcast graphic that I didn't end up liking, but then deciding to outsource it to someone on Fiverr. They returned something awesome in less than a day for $15. Lesson learned. That is the power of deciding whether or not you need to actually be the one doing it. So if you have $15 and it's worth the risk of saving yourself time, maybe you don't know how to do something. Maybe you're not the best person to do it. Maybe it's not critical for you to do. So using this method is going to help you determine whether or not you truly need to be the one doing things in your business. I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Miranda. So we're almost done. Just a couple more minutes, I swear. But there are two things that you can use to getting anything done, for getting anything done. Because nothing is less productive than to make more efficient what should not be done at all, right? So how do you prioritize things that should be done versus prioritizing things that you actually shouldn't be doing? Why would you waste your time, like Miranda said, spending hours creating a graphic and then not being happy with it if you are not the best person to be doing that? That's why I have the Ivory Mix membership, so that I can create stunning photos and graphics for you so that you can spend time on the work that's important that you do, because you are the most powerful asset you have in your business. So why would you spend your time working on the things that aren't moving the needle in your business? So I'll say this one more time and hopefully it'll sink in. Nothing is less productive than to make more efficient what should not be done at all. So don't waste your time being efficient at something that you shouldn't even be doing in the first place. So here are the two things that you can do to get anything done. Ready? I'm really going to push you. Dream bigger and do more. I know you're probably like really mad at me about the do more thing. I would be too, honestly. But you can have anything that you want if you dream bigger and do more. But the question I ask you is it that simple? The two-step solution to getting stuff done, everything that you've written down on your goals, is step one, identify your most important task. Everything that we've talked about, content planning, creating a vision for the year, take everything that we've talked about and determine what your MIT is, your most important task. Understand what is most important to you and what activity will provide the greatest leverage to getting there right now. So that's step one. Decide what that is. Period. End of story. What's the one thing? Step two, work on your most important task as early as possible. In the day, in the week, in the month. Do everything you possibly can first in the month. That's your most important task for reaching your goal. So Diana, I'm really calling you out, so I'm really sorry. But if it is your goal to finish that book, dedicate at least the first hour of every day, the first couple of days of every week, and the first week of every month to getting it done. That's your two-step process. Dream bigger and do more. Get your big goal in front of you and do more to get it done. That's it. Two-step process. Identify what your most important task is and work on it as early as possible. Early in the day, early in the month, early in the year. Make sure you give your priority tasks the time they deserve. So if you are trying to go from a one-to-one business to a one-to-many, what are you doing every day to do that? Get clear with yourself. Diana's saying, it's okay. I have set an hour in the afternoon because of a part-time job in the morning. Well, that's great. I'm so glad that you have a set hour for working on your goal. And I hope that everyone else is doing that too. So track your projects. If you've got goals, track those too. You can use Trello to track your projects. You can track your projects in your Easy Marketing Planner. There's an entire card or board on Trello specifically for tracking your projects in the Easy Marketing Planner. I recommend using time blocking. So dedicate an hour at a time, take 15-minute breaks, whatever you need to do, block out those time frames on your calendar to get your projects done. And then follow this simple, simple rule. Follow the 2-minute rule. If an item on your to-do list takes less than 2 minutes, do it now and do it together. If you write a list out every week of, let's say, 20 different things that you could possibly do this week to get you closer to your goal, look at that list for things that take 2 minutes. You know, if you need to get more leads for your business, and that means going on direct messenger on Instagram and direct messaging 10 people, how many minutes is it going to take for you to direct message 10 people every single day? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it worth your time to do that first? Right? So follow the 2-minute rule. If an item on your to-do list takes less than 2 minutes, do it right now. And also, if you have more than one 2-minute tasks, do them all together at one time. That way you can sort of batch create your projects and get those smaller tasks out of the way so that most of your stuff that you're working on are those big needle moving projects. Sabrina says, I block my weekend to work on my business and an hour every day. That's great. I love time blocking, and I hope you guys do too. All right, so we've reached our hour. This is it for me today. This has been all about goal setting and how to be more productive in your business. So if you have any questions, I want to give you the opportunity to ask these questions. Here I am. I want to give you the opportunity to ask questions. I'd be happy to. If you haven't grabbed the Easy Marketing Planner, it is inside of your membership. If you're a VIP, it's included. If not, and you need to grab it, it's very, very affordable, and it's at ivorymix.com/easy. I think that's it for me today. Let me know if you have any questions, what your biggest takeaway was today, what you're going to do first when it comes to working on the goals in your business. I hope you guys feel much more clear and have a lot more clarity. Sabrina says, thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much, Sabrina. I'm so happy to see you guys here every day or every time I have a live. I really love doing these things for you guys. So yeah, doesn't look like I have any questions. Samantha says, I'm going to make sure I make time for my business every day. Great. Yay. Plan for success early, Wendy says. Love it. Yes. All right. I'm glad to see you guys have these takeaways. Diana says, this has been helpful. As an author, I don't hang out with real business people. Karen says, this is good information. Thanks. Yay. All right, well, it sounds like you guys really enjoyed it, and I'm super happy to do these for you. So if you have any questions, you can catch me at kaylamarie@ivorymix.com, and I will be in our private Facebook group later today as well to answer any questions you have, and this will be a replay. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.